Good morning, folks. Welcome to the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. Cassandra Terry, the mindset coach and founder of Manifesting Miracle Makers, rounded up her LinkedIn family once again. First, we've got Brian Smart, Mr. Content and Dadpreneur. He's striking the perfect balance between raising his youngest daughter and creating masterful content. Next, meet Denise Anaïs Spiller, the gig expert and relentless traveler and writer. She turns every gig into an adventure. Then there's Jay Pasquale, the storytelling strategist, a poet and voiceover artist. He's weaving tales that'll make you think, laugh, and maybe even change your perspective. Get ready for a show filled with wisdom, inspiration, and the magic of family. Let's welcome Cassandra Terry and the rest of the fam.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a new week with the Cassandra Terry Morning Show, Transformation Tuesday. It's a great day. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be with my fam. It's a great day to be with each and every one of you. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. I was just thinking about the word transformation as the music was playing. And I was thinking there's so much hope in that word, right? If you don't like how things are right now, the fact that we have the ability to change and ultimately transform if we so choose means that we've got more control than we often take advantage of, more control than we often even realize. It's a saying in Texas, if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. Because our weather is so sporadic. It could be cold one day and the next day it's 80, 90 degrees. So we can never quite put away this gear for this season because the seasons are short and they all blend together until it gets super hot. So the only thing we can leave out a long time is all the stuff, the sleeveless, the stuff to stay cool, right? And so if you don't like the way things are, just give it a minute. Step back, process what's going on, be honest about your contribution to the situation, get really clear about what you would like to see different, plan how you can get from where you are to where you'd like to be, and then it's time to roll up the sleeves and get to work. When you know what it is that you want and you're really clear about where you are, now it's your responsibility to do something about it. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? We have to, and I'm talking to myself more than anybody, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. When we know that discomfort is a part of the growth process, discomfort is a part of that transformation, then we can look at discomfort a little bit differently, right? You know, when you know that it's because you're growing, because you're changing, that because you're stretching out and doing something that you've never done before, that discomfort is coming from a positive place. But you have to keep moving forward and through it. You can't retreat back to where it's warm and cozy, to where it's familiar, or you never get beyond and into the next that's waiting for you, the next opportunity, the next level of growth, the next whatever. We want to get to the next, and we can't do that in the comfortable. And I wish we could, because Lord, it's nice in that comfortable spot. It's warm and cozy, familiar, you know, just where the jagged spots are so you don't bump in the middle of the night. You know your way around. But when you know your way around that well, you've probably done what you can do and reach the growth that you can within that space. And it's time for you to stretch and grow into what's next. So let me share, as I hear myself saying that, today's quote comes directly to mind. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Anaïs Nin. Think about that. We can think about a flower. We could think about the butterflies that I always use or the whole transformation process that I use as a visual for Transformation Tuesday. There comes a time where your space is too small for you and it begins to feel like a prison. That space begins to be too small and uncomfortable because you're growing, you're expanding, you need more room to blossom, you need more room to allow those wings to be, right? And it gets really, really uncomfortable in a tight space. Anybody who's ever dealt with claustrophobia understands. If you've shared a space, if you've been in college and you were in a dorm room, you probably had a roommate. And there were times where you just wish you had the space to yourself. And probably when you got out of school, eventually you had that day where you had your own space that you didn't have to share. You could stretch your wings, you could decorate it the way you wanted to, you could make it really yours. You're coming into your own, you're blossoming. And that's what we're talking about today. Recognizing when the space that you're in is no longer serving you, it is now containing you, restricting you from expanding and developing into the next, whatever that next is. So, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. It's too bad that as humans sometimes we have to get pushed out of the nest. We have to get forced into that next stage by the space getting too tight. Think about a mother getting ready to have her new baby. Those last few weeks are absolutely miserable. You're just looking forward to the day that it's over. And you know the discomfort that you're feeling now is only a preface to what's coming. It's going to get way more uncomfortable before you're actually holding that little one in your hands. And when that process starts, you can't go back. You cannot go back to the time prior to those contractions. That is a very live visual for me because my little grandson was just born less than 2 months ago, and I remember when those contractions started. If my daughter could have stopped them, she absolutely would have. There came a point where the discomfort was almost unbearable. She was just reaching her maximum. But that meant that it was almost over. That meant that the baby was almost here. The next was happening. And there was nothing you can do that she could do in that moment other than to push through so that she could get to the next stage of life. And that's being a mom to a newborn, right? Same thing in our lives. There comes this point where we are so uncomfortable in what was our comfortable space that we have absolutely no choice but to break free, but to move forward, to transform in some sort of a way. And that is God's way, that is the universe's way. However you phrase it, that is the way that we are forced forward, because sometimes we snuggle in just so deeply into that comfortable place that it's hard to get us to move. But you have drained everything that you can out of that space. You've given everything that you can into that space. So the only thing that we can do is to push forward. And when you get to that point, it's fearful, it's scary. Imagine, if you're a mom, or if you're someone who's ever been witnessing a child being born, that moment right before everything gets exciting is really scary. It's like heightened ultimate pain. You're waiting for that baby to come forth and hear that cry so that you know that the baby's okay. You're waiting to check on mom to make sure that she's making it through all of this uncomfortable experience. Are the doctors doing everything right? It's a scary place. That place right before transition is there's so much unknown. There's so much potential for the what ifs. But the question is, what if you don't? Right? What if you don't? With all that activity, if the baby doesn't come forth on its own, the doctors have to take unusual measures to force it because there's no way to go back. You can't be unpregnant, right? There's no way to go back. And we want to think about the lives that we're building that same way. When you have that dream, when you have that calling, when you have that thing that you just absolutely can't get rid of, it follows you into the different phases of life. It whispers to you, you see it, things trigger you and remind you of it. That thing is trying to come forth. It is trying to be born. So you can't be unpregnant. When that desire has been planted in you, it's going to continue to develop in some sort of a way, begging you to pay attention to it, begging you to nourish it, begging you to give it to light so that it can break forth, and it's going to take you with it. My children have taken me places I probably would not have seen on my own because of the activities that they were involved in, their interest. I've seen different parts of the country that I wouldn't have even had on my bucket list. But that because that's where the next game was, that's where the next opportunity was, away we went. Your dreams, your babies will show you parts of your life and parts of the world that you didn't even realize you wanted to see until you get there, and then you're amazed. So keeping yourself pregnant with your dreams, keeping yourself pregnant with the opportunities that live within you is only making you uncomfortable. And it'll keep squeezing and squeezing until remaining in that situation is so uncomfortable that you just absolutely have to blossom. You have to give birth. So, what you want to do now while you're not in such an uncomfortable situation is to ask yourself what you're pregnant with, right? Who did it? What's going on? What's the dream? What's the thing that I am destined to bring forward? What lives in me that I am supposed to share with the world? A lot of people don't even realize their lives are that valuable. When you were born, before that first cry, there was a gift to the world that was planted inside of you. The first gift was your very presence. The second gift was what your life was going to bring to the world. And if you don't realize that you're just that valuable, you're missing it. So spend some time with yourself. What is it that I'm so good at? What is it that I naturally do? What's my gifting? What do people ask me about all the time? What do they seek my advice for? What types of things do they bring to me? Those are clues. What do you do? What are you doing when you're most happy? What lights you up? Right? When I talk about coaching and getting to talk about manifestation and growth and goal setting and mindfulness and all those things, I feel lit up from the inside out. It actually lights me up. And sometimes it shows on my face because I've had people say it. Oh, I can tell this is your passion. You get so excited. Your eyes twinkle just talking about it. What is that for you? You've probably heard it before. What are the things that light you up from the inside out? The things that if you never got paid for, you still couldn't help but to do. Have those conversations with yourself and identify what that is. Where does your gifting lie? And how do you take it from this dormant state or this infant state and start to allow it to mature? When is your baby going to start to walk, right? When will your baby run? When will it be able to live independent of you and take on its own life? And that life pull you the places that you never thought you would go. It's already in you. It is absolutely already in you, and it has always been there. And when you identify what that is, you open up your life to unparalleled possibilities. Things that I had no idea. I absolutely had no idea. You will be amazed. You will have moments of pure wonder because you didn't know what you were blocking. You didn't know the blessings that are right on the other side of your comfort zone, right on the other side of you allowing that gifting to mature and to come to light, right? So, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And that's Anaïs Nin. Now, I'm hoping that you don't have to get that uncomfortable. you know, Discomfort in any form is uncomfortable. But if that's what it takes, bear down, go through the labor of bringing forth your baby, your gift, the thing that your life was designed to produce. We've got a few folks that have joined us. I'll take a look at those comments. And then, Denise, we will be over to you. Conchita says, greetings, everyone, on this terrific Tuesday. It's another amazing day. It absolutely is. My mom, Aromatic Vision, says, good morning, fam. And Conchita said, Cassandra, I definitely illuminate you when coaching or growth mindset is the conversation. Uh I don't know exactly what that says, but something like a diamond. Oh, I think she says shine bright like a diamond. That's what it is. There it is, bright like a diamond. Yeah, I love the opportunity to talk about those things because I know what they've done for me. And I know when we're willing to go inside and do that inner work, that there is nothing that's not possible. There is no joy that we can't ascend to, there is no accomplishments that are not ours to make. Our lives are unparalleled and open to possibility when we believe that we're capable and deserving. So that voice within, it wins every time. So if you don't have the answers to some of those other questions, start there. What do I know to be true about myself? What do I absolutely know to be true? And if positive stuff is not coming out, you need to call me. We need to do some work. We need to once and for all get hold of that inner messaging and do the work to reframe it so that you get out of your own way and you're not the thing that's standing between you and the life that you desire. When our inner messaging is bad, we're fearful, we're small, we stay comfortable. We don't want to make a mistake because we have our performance connected to our person. Those are two different things. I can perform wonderfully and be a bad person. I can perform badly and be a good person. They're two different things. And when you have them too tightly intertwined, you have yourself just strangled by your fear of making a mistake. If I make a mistake, I'm still the same person I was before I made it. I'm just as good. I'm just as loving. I'm just as kind. I'm just as kooky. I'm just as whatever I am before the mistake. I'm still that same person. That's why you have to be really clear about who you are. Because when you know that, you're free to live your life a lot more out loud, a lot more open, a lot riskier. You can try things. You're not so fearful of failure or success because those are just performance indicators. They're not personality indicators. They don't say who you are. So the more stuff you amass, or you may just have a real small, meager existence, neither of those have any indication of who you are. They just say how much stuff you have. I can have lots of stuff and be an absolute tyrant. I can have nothing and be an angel. And the reverse is true. It talks about maybe how well I've managed what I have, but it doesn't say anything about me, the core of who I am, the person. And we have to rewrite our minds. If you need to go buy something to feel good, your feel good is coming from the wrong place. It should be coming from inside, and it should be coming from your vertical connection with your creator. If that's not where your feel good comes from, you are at the mercy of the opinion of other people, the latest shining thing that you brought, what you're wearing, all of that ridiculous stuff, right? If I'm wearing nothing at all, if I'm wearing the finest clothes or something in between, it has no bearing on who I am. And if your who is connected to your what, you have it wrong. You have work to do. All that stuff could be gone in a second, right, Jay? Were you any less the man when your possessions were gone? You weren't. You were probably more the man because you met yourself. You got to know who you really were in tragedy, in trauma, in taking care of your family through difficulties. You got to know who you really were at your core. Now, what we gonna do to rock you? You like, man, I came through a hurricane, a tornado, rather. Everything was taken away except for the things that matter the most, my life and my family. So I know as long as I have those and I have my God, all is well. The rest of that stuff I can replace. I can't be replaced. If you got on the finest of the finest, it's still not more valuable than I am. It's not more valuable than you are. And if you're putting that value in it, you're missing it, right? You're missing it. Your relationships, the time you spend, the energy you bring into a situation, how you show up and nourish those around you with your presence, with your words, with your energy, not with your stuff. Because anybody can give me stuff. And most stuff that I want, I can get for myself. But I can't get a warm hug. I can't get love. I can't get support. I can't get appreciation. Those things are priceless. When I get those from you, you are way more important to me than somebody who gave me a cute bangle of some sort, something, because it's just a thing. Maybe I'll lose it, maybe it'll fade away, but what's tucked away in my heart that will never go away are the moments that we've spent together and how you made me feel in those moments, how I made you feel in those moments. Nurturing those relationships and moving your focus from that to the exterior is the first big transformation, especially if you grew up without. When we grow up without, we usually splinter one or two ways. We're miserly and can't enjoy the life that we have now because we're so fearful that it'll be gone, or we have no good relationship with money and things, and we're wasteful, and it's just like water through our hands, and we don't get to the point to where we learn to manage it, so we never actually have the life that we could have. In the middle is where it should be, right? In the middle, learning how to manage what you have, learning how to enjoy it responsibly, and learning how to save for a rainy day or for that oomph that's coming, because it's always coming. It is always waiting to get on you. Are you prepared for it? Do you have the right gear for whatever storm is brewing? It's tough to get the gear right when you're in the middle of the storm. You prepare in advance. And the day will come, and the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. I love this quote. So, Denise, I'd love to hear from you and what you'd like to share today.
Good morning and grand rising. I am so sick of
Grand
being
Rising.
cold. I hate to complain about being cold, but I am so cold. As I'm preparing to travel, and I just realized I'm just cold and it's exhausting. And I was cold last night as I went out with my family and the night before, and we've been trying to. I've been accepting invitations and spending time with different family members as in between this rainstorm. So I know I'm in California. It's not as cold as it is over on the East Coast, where my family calls us wimps because it's like 55 degrees or 58 degrees, and I'm like, it's so cold. But I wanted to encourage you to please go back. You packed such a mean punch this morning. There's so much that you came with. Please go back and listen when you get time, when you don't have anything else going on and you're not distracted, to everything you've said in this first 20 minutes. You came with so much. I really just appreciate being speaking directly behind you because you come with so much. It taps into my spirit and things that were already on my mind and things that I was thinking about. And Jay and Brian always have so much. By the time if I go after them, I'm really all over the place. I have to start taking notes. So I appreciate like coming in behind you. I always feel very emotionally supported, if that makes sense. And then this quote is really speaking to where I am in my life right now. So the one thing, because I have so much from what you said, but I just want to tap into one thing that's really just blessing me. Spending time with family that, misses you, loves you, concerned about you. I have a lot of family members, a lot more conservative than myself. They may not go rushing off on a plane to an international destination by themselves. So I stress them out a little bit. And I found that I was sitting and I was listening a lot. And it's interesting to listen to people who you've grown up with, who really love on you and want the best for you, to talk about you like you're not there. My mother was like, my wayward daughter has returned. And we were just having so many jokes and going to different family. And I was listening to one of my family members who has been I'm not sure what the word is. It's not that they haven't been supportive, but the words that come from them when they're speaking to me as I'm traveling are from it's like it's from their anxiety. And they'll tell me that. They'll say, "Oh, I am not that adventurous. You make me nervous." But I heard that person telling another person how they were watching one of the videos or listening to one of the shows, and they heard this story and they repeated the story. And I'm like, she's really listening. It's from months ago, from one of our shows. And they were like, and I was telling my husband, I'm not doing that. I'm not that adventurous, but that's who she is. And I love it. And I love to see it. They were saying these things. And one of my family members said, "You're so quiet." And I said, "Oh, I'm just listening." "Are you okay?" "Oh, I'm fine. I'm wonderful." But the other side of that is that you can be affected, and you can be, if you take it on, you can be affected by your close relationships and the emotions that are coming from those people. That's their emotions and their anxiety, right? Or their fear. It can affect you if you don't remember what the Creator gave you. And if you don't honor that and honor that relationship first. When you honor that relationship first, and you just said it right before you passed it on to me, you said that vertical connection. So when you're honoring that and you're doing what God put on your heart to do, He transforms you into a place you definitely are going to have to get uncomfortable. There's no doubt that you're going to have to get uncomfortable. But when you know you're following that, you can give all that back to Him and ask Him to continue to encourage you to do and follow what His purpose is for your life. So you don't allow anyone else's, let's call it that over worry or that anxiety or their nervousness for what's going on in your life to affect you. I hope that makes sense. You're honoring that vertical connection. You're honoring the purpose that God put on your heart and in your heart. You're chasing that thing because that's the first relationship. That's that number one relationship. And it's the one that transforms. And then you can bless the other, relationships, what you're getting from Him and what you're getting from your Creator. So I hope it makes sense, because I really do feel like in my brain I have so much else going on, but I'm trying to focus on that one thought and that one message, because I came out of all of these gatherings with so much emotion, so much love, and at the same time, those words that other people are speaking out of their own nervousness for your adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, girl, I've never traveled by myself. You over, what are you at? It's coming from their own
Mm-hmm.
experience or lack of experience.
Right.
So remember to you don't have to push back. You don't have to comment. I've been so quiet, mostly because what they didn't understand is I was freezing. I'm showing up in 3 layers of clothes and I'm listening. But I noticed last night and the night before, like I said, I always don't sleep well as I prepare to travel, because so much is on my mind. But I did notice some of those words that sound like doubt, I'd say, or
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. It's not mine. It's not my doubt. It's not my anxiety. Give that back to the Creator. For some people that looks like prayer on your knees before bed. For some people they meditate. For some people they cry. Whatever it takes, you have to give that back. Let it go, because it's not yours to hold on to. It's from the people who love you. It's from the people who are concerned about you. It's coming from a wonderful place because they're just excited for you. And at the same time, they're like, please be careful as they hug you as if they're going to hug you for the last time. That's their energy. That's their emotions. That's their feelings. Let that remain there and you do what you came to do. Thank you so much, Cassandra. You always bless me.
Thank you. I love that share. And the thing that was really powerful when you were talking about where that their concern and anxiety is coming from, when you know that it's coming from a good place, you don't allow it to become something negative, because it can be frustrating. It can sound like, oh, they're doubting me, oh, they don't believe in me, oh, they're just this, they're just that, and you can spin into a negative place. But when you know that that fear, that anxiety is coming from their concern for you, then you manage it better. And the
May
other thing is not to pick it up and make it your own.
may I say something? We're on
Absolutely.
transportation. I um I have to say this because what you just said just now, I have to say that if the comments, the jokes, my family likes to joke a lot, and
Mine
sometimes,
too.
yeah, they might be digging at you with a little joke though, and then they say, "Oh, girl's just playing," yeah, okay, I got you, but that's what our family does. It's a dynamic in our family where our sense of humor can get wicked, so we have to be careful with that, saying I'm just joking when you're really digging. But what I wanted to say was this collective, this connection, this relationship with my two brothers, J and B, and with you, who you've become my sister, has had so much to do, has blessed me so much. I'm getting emotional as I'm saying it because you guys have been gifted to me, handed to me in a little cute box. Jay's was probably bright pink and green or something crazy with a like red, something that don't even match. It's like you guys were gifted to me, and it was my responsibility to recognize, my responsibility to honor those gifts and open them and cherish them. I cherish this connection because it is because of your mindset magic that you do. It's because of the masterful um, just gifts you guys have as orators, and your support has helped me transform to where I am today, where when I first went on my trip and I heard those words coming from them, I would not have recognized that their
Right.
worry for me comes from love. And I didn't. There were places where I got very frustrated with some of my family members and just like causing me anxiety in my own emotional immaturity. So I have
Hmm.
transformed into a place where every single word that came out, none of it sat in a negative place. It didn't even have the ability to. It just bounced right back off into a place where I just gave it back to God if it did cause me any anxiety at all. Made sure that I had a real good conversation with Him last night so that when I woke up this morning, it could be that I am where I am and I totally understand where it comes from. And I feel blessed to even have a family that would be worried about me. So I just wanted to say that, as you said, to recognize that before this group, it would have taken me a while to get there, maybe a week instead of an hour.
I
So
love
I
it.
just
I
had to
love it.
add.
That is so awesome. It reminds me of a conversation I had with my therapist years when I was early in the process. And I was so frustrated with just life and everybody in general. I was like, nobody sees me, nobody hears me. Everyone just wants something from me. I feel like I'm pulled in all these different directions. And she was like, well, talk about it. What types of things? Well, my husband wants to do this. My kids need me to do that. I try to get home every once in a while and check on the parent. I'm never good enough, because no matter what I'm doing, I'm always not doing more things that's on the list of things that I need to do. And she said, oh, wow, it must be wonderful to have that many people to want you, to have that many people to want your presence, to have that many people want to be around you. Totally reframed it in a hot second, where it went from being something burdensome to being a gift, to have a large family, to have lots of people who enjoy. When I would go home, it was a nightmare because people were in different areas of the DFW area, and I'm trying to trot from house to house, people to people, see all these folks. And it was stressful. because no matter what I did, it was going to be somebody I didn't see whose feelings were hurt or had something to say. And I only saw that part of it. And it took like one conversation, and she went, "Oh, wow, what a blessing to have that many people to want you around." And all I had to do was make some internal adjustments because nobody told me that I had to hit every spot every trip. So now I divide my trips up. When I'm going home, if I'm going to see my parents, then that's where I'm going, and I'm going to do stuff in that nucleus. Or if I'm going to see my grandmother and the aunts and cousins on my dad's side of the family, that's what I'm doing. And I'm not trying to get, because there's an hour or so drive between those two locations. I don't try to do both, but I purpose it in my mind before I leave what I'm going for. And I stay focused on that so that I'm not looking at what I don't have or what I'm not doing. I'm focused on what I'm able to accomplish and able to enjoy the experience that I'm having in that moment. It was me. I had to do some internal work and adjustments and get comfortable with what I could do instead of pushing it. And again, it's typically us in our heads and how we're processing things and what we're focused on. We've got a lot of comments that have come in. Let's see. Conchita says, "You definitely light up." That was from our earlier conversation. And my mom said, "Come on, preach, daughter, you're on it." Good morning, Alexis. Glad to have you with us from AIS Publishing. My mom said, "Preach, Denise." Coral said, "Great conversation." Conchita said, "Great share, Denise. The Creator says to cast all your cares on Him, for He careth for you." That means throw it as hard and as far as you can. He has it all under control. Beautiful share, Conchita. And Kim says, "Totally agree. You guys are a gift." And then she said, "OMG, Cassandra, that's so me. Too many needs from everyone. I feel, yeah, like always letting someone down all day, then come home the same." Wow. Yeah. I mean, I that's how I experienced my life. It was obligatory. Everything I was doing was out of some sort of internal obligation that I placed on myself. People can try. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what the relationship is. They can try to place obligations on you, but they don't become your obligations until you accept them. That was me running around like a crazy person, trying to be all over the place, trying to be all things to all people. I'm not, and I can't. And when I allowed myself to understand that I could only do so much and to carve out in each trip what that so much was going to be, then I was able to enjoy it and not feel stressed. When I'm with one group, I'm stressed because I'm not with the other. That's just like going to your party and only being concerned about the people who didn't show up and not enjoying those that did. So I had to adjust my internal thinking. Just like Denise said a while ago, those same comments, she wouldn't have processed them the same way. She wouldn't have seen the love and care. That's why we have these conversations, because those light bulbs do come on, those connections do happen. And just like Kim, you're like, I remember feeling that same way. If you felt that same way, you can make that same adjustment. You can declare for yourself what it is you're going to do, how much of that you're going to do, and make that your success, right? And when you do that, you're good. And then everyone else is either going to have to get in line, or it's their problem. It's not yours. You cannot be all things to all people. And when you let go of those burdens, you open up your life. Your life is so much more enjoyable. So, all right. So I don't know. My camera went out a little while ago, so I'm assuming you guys can't see me. I just see a black spot where I am. Is that what you guys see, Jay? Because I can see you. Do you see me?
You are actually paused. We see a photo version of
A
you.
photo version of me. Well, I hope my mouth wasn't in some crazy position. You know how those pauses go? They always catch you in the craziest way.
Well, no, yeah, so no, yeah, your lips are pursed, but it's one of those where you're just like kind of thinking, you're
I'm pensive.
contemplating.
I'm
Yes,
pensive. That's
yes.
that's the second or third time. I was talking to my boss last night and I said, "You look pensive. Is everything okay?" He said, "What you call me?" So that is my word for the day, pensive. All right. So Brian, you have been listening attentively. Oh, my mom says we see you. Cool. All right. Well, I can't see myself. But Brian, you have been listening attentively, and so the floor is yours. We would love to hear what nuggets you have to drop today.
Grand rising, everyone. I don't know what
Grand
the weather's like
rising.
everywhere else, but it's raining here and it feels amazing today.
Awesome.
Such a great day. Such a great day. Uh, anytime I'm in these rooms with you, Cassandra, Jay, Denise, I always thoughts just start jumping out from every corner recess of my brain. And today, what came to me was a conversation I had. I believe it was yesterday about a time in my life where transformation was happening and I didn't see it. Right? Transformation. We tend to think of transformation as in, it starts with an action, but transformation actually starts with a thought.
Mhm.
Right? In order for you to transform, you have to start with your mind. And so I'm gonna pull one of Jay's moves right quick. I don't really do scripture too often, but this morning's study stood out to me, and particularly after you started talking, Cassandra. So according to the Bible, you cannot say you know God unless you have experienced Him. Now that's Philippians 3:8 and 10, right?
Okay.
You
Hmm.
cannot know God unless you have experienced Him, and the point here is that transformation comes with experience, right? You have to experience God in your mind, you have to experience things in your life, and then you can say you've been transformed, right? Just to say, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, that's not transformation. Just to say, I'm here now and this is where I was at, that's not transformation. If you're still thinking the same way, right? That's not transformation. You're still having the same thoughts, which ultimately means you're going to be back in the place you were before you had your full transformative moment. Transformation comes with experience. Transformation comes with a new way of thinking. Everything that you have ever experienced in your life is building you up for that next level of your life. So don't get stuck in the now, right? That's what you said earlier, Cassandra. Don't get stuck in right now. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? See yourself as the person you want to be. Serve the people that you're becoming. Don't focus on who you were and what you used to be. Don't serve the people that you used to be. Serve and be who you're becoming.
Ooh, I like that. Serve the people who you are becoming. I like that. That's a mic drop right there.
Boom.
Love it, love it, love it. My mom said, "Oh yeah, photo image lip perched." Yeah, I had to go into IT mode and unplug and replug, and so it looks like I'm back. Coral said, "Go ahead, Brian, with the God scripture," and then she said, "Check this out, Genevieve." Yeah, we are never going to be mad. He always says that he doesn't, but he also, in saying that he doesn't often bring the scripture, he's coming from his morning devotion. So you might not be bringing it, but you two are taking it in. And what we take in is what is going to come out. So don't go ahead and do how you are led, Brian. We are here for all of it. All right. I also wanted to recognize a good friend of mine, Robert Harrison, who's watching. I'm not sure if he's still here, but I saw he was on earlier. So, hey, Rob. Let's see. And Conchita says, yes, Brian, well said. Jay, why did you go away? You still there? There you are. It's time for us to hear from you. What is it that you want to share with us today?
So there are so many things. Just like Denise said and Brian said, as everybody is talking, all these thoughts are going off in, in my head. Um, so to get to the point, let me just talk about the scripture that came to mind,
Okay.
and that's Matthew uh, chapter 7, verse 7. Um, and everybody, we've heard this one. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and it will be open to you. And really, this is the thought of transformation, right? To be able to get to the point of change, changing your mindset, changing your thought process, changing your thoughts from not being faithful to having deep faith, right? It starts with you. It starts with that thought, right? And you were talking about these external forces
Mm-hmm.
making the choice for you, right? Shaping you externally. The the Gucci bags, you know, keeping up with the Joneses, I got to have the best car, I've got to have the best house. And when you experience a natural disaster that takes away all of that stuff, you just think of things a lot more differently because you could work your tail off all day, every day for the opulence, the blessings you think you're receiving, right? The physical blessings, but the actual blessings are being missed, right? And it goes to what Denise was talking about honoring gifts, right? She talked about the gifts of the collective. And then she talked about that vertical connection that you talked about. And
Mm-hmm.
really, these are where the gifts come from. You know, the collective is only providing you a gift because we are the vessels
Right.
for that gift. And we talk about that every time we pray before we
Mm-hmm.
get on before we get on the show. And two more things I'm going to talk about. My grandson, the other day, he calls me Tata, which is, the form meaning Papa, in our language. And he said he didn't want his toys. He handed me these toys, these little toys, and it was given to him by my son. We went to go visit my son for my granddaughter's birthday, and he gave me all these toys, and he said he didn't want it because my sister-in-law had given him the biggest version of those little toys. And so he was like, done. Here you go. Here you go, Tata. I don't want these. And he was telling me actually telling me to throw it away. I said, no, I'm gonna keep them. Um, and then he handed me another toy that n- my wife and I got him, and he was really upset about wanting. He said, I don't want that either. And I was like, boy, we stood in Walmart for half an hour to get you this toy. Um, and I just had to go over it with him. I said, that's not nice. You know, we do these things because we love you and we want to give you these things. We want to give you these gifts, and you just throwing it away because you got the biggest, best shiny toy now that somebody else got you, right? It's not just about the toy, son. It's about the gifts and the giving, the receiving from the people who love you. We love you and we got that for you. And I said, you know what? In the future, maybe Nana and Tata and Uncle aren't going to get you any more toys. Does that feel good? He said, no, I want more toys. I said, uh huh. I know you do. I know you do. But, and in that moment, and recognizing the message today is we got to honor those gifts, the receiving of those gifts. And how do we do that? We do it internally, and we transform based on the messages and the lessons and the experiences we receive.
Mhm.
And it comes from that. And the last thing I want to share is up until August 2023, I had long hair. And you might not tell it from how I look now, but that really was the case. But it was thinning up top, and I went through a fit. Renee will tell you she was tired of hearing she was tired of hearing me, and she said, "Just shave it off. What's the problem? But it was me. I thought it was me. I thought it was my identity. I thought it was all of me. I'm honoring my ancestors by keeping my hair long, and I can't keep doing this anymore because I'm gonna look stupid, you know." And I just didn't want to give it up. I just didn't want to give it up. And finally, mm, it was I just called my brother up and I said, "Man, I got the clippers in my hands. What do you think I should do?" And even before he said anything, I had already made up my mind, to be honest. But he said one thing: "Your hair doesn't define you."
I am not my hair.
I was like, and now I'm getting emotional because it was so many years that, I fought it. When I first came out here in 2008, you know, the corporate makeup and culture that I was in, I walked in with my long hair in a ponytail so that I looked the part. And I had some conversations with upper management over the years about my hair and about leaving it down and all of that stuff. And and then I hear people, indigenous people, people of color, who are fighting to keep their hair long, who are fighting to keep their locks, to do all of these things because that's part of their culture, it's part of who they are. So why am I giving this up? And then I said to myself, my hair does not define me. I still show up for my ancestors,
Right.
and I still show up for myself. So why am I stuck to this thing, this physical thing? And it's the gift in that moment that I received from my brother saying, it doesn't define you. That's not who
Mhm.
you are.
Right.
These are the things that we should consider when we think about transformation. What is the experience? What is the lesson? What are we trying to achieve? And can we come out of this much more enriched? And from that, I'm I hope that just like Denise, all of the things that I said made some sense and it provided some value. So thank you, Cassandra.
Absolutely. So Conchita can answer whether or not it made any sense and provided any value. I think this is going back to the story of your grandson and the toys. She said, "Wow, Jay, that story is probably exactly how God feels when we don't fully honor His gifts." Thank you for sharing. How about that for a tie? My mom says, "All right, Jay, hand claps and hearts." Grand Rising Brian, go ahead, Mr. Content, more hand claps and hearts. And MD Adur Razak, transformation encapsulates the process of profound change, evolution, or metamorphosis, often leading to a new state or identity. It can occur on various levels: personal, societal, organizational, or even on a cosmic scale, whether sparked by internal growth, external influences, or a combination of both. Transformation involves shedding. Oh, I can't see it. Hold on. There we go. Shedding. Where'd it go? I lost it. There it is. Whether sparked by internal growth, external influences, or a combination of both, transformation involves shedding old patterns, beliefs, or structures to embrace new perspectives, capabilities, or realities. It embodies the journey from one state to another. And it looks like it went on. I see offering, but if you may have to cut and paste the second half of your comment into a separate comment because it cut it off. And then Coral says, you always provide value, Jay. And so I wanted to read those comments before I tell you what came up for me when you were reading. Ask, seek, knock. 3 action words, 3 verbs. So our transformation, like Brian said, starts with the thought, but there's implicit in that scripture that action is required on our part. If you want the knowledge, you have to ask for it, right? You have to ask, you have to seek, you have to knock. You have to be in the game. You can't just rest on your laurels. You can't rest on what you did in high school last year, last week. You were the best, this, that, or the other. Those things are all great. And yes, they're a part of your history, but they also are history. In the present, if you want things to change, you have to be a part of that change. You can't just chill in the seat and wait for all this stuff to magically happen. You have to get up and you have to do something. That's why I talk about gaining the clarity first of what it is that you desire, building the plan to get there, and then getting to work. Your actions may not be exactly what it is or how it is that you should move, but by the mere fact that you're getting going, that's why we talk about progress over perfection. Just by the mere fact that you're in the game, that you're trying, that you're taking steps towards what it is that you want, the next steps will start to be obvious to you. People will show up who are going to help you along the way. Tools and things that you didn't even know you have, a tornado will reveal to you. You have to get in the game. You have to want it and be willing to work for it more than I can want it for you. I had to say that to my children all the time when they were little, when they were younger. I can't want it bad enough for you, son. You have to get up and go get that job. You have to earn that living. You have to decide that you want to become independent and do that work. I can't raise these kids for you, girls. Y'all have to figure it out. You have to take what I poured into you and pour it into your babies. And thank God that's exactly what I get to witness. It's cool being a grandma sitting back, hearing your voice, your thoughts come out of your kids' mouth. It's so funny. I love it. But in order for you to have the things that you really desire, you got to move beyond desire and wishing and wanting and dreaming and into implementation. Ask, seek, knock. Action verbs. All right. My mom said, great show, you guys. I must say, I just love Conchita. So do I. She is the best. Jay's pointing. I think Jay loves her too. Up there's hearts for you, Conchita, from Jay. So yeah, our audience and as a whole, you guys are wonderful. You're so supportive. You show up, and we appreciate you for all of it. I think we have done what we came to do. Anything that's been missed? Go ahead, Jay.
I just want to recognize, we talk about external forces that help you transform or force you to transform.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to recognize Renee in this moment because she has helped me transform, but it's also her birthday. So happy birthday to,
Yay, happy birthday,
Oh, happy
Renee.
birthday, Renee.
yeah. So I want to recognize her and thank her for putting up with me and allowing me to transform in our relationship. So I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you sharing you with us so regularly, even on her birthday. You're here even before you get to go and celebrate your grandchild's birthday. You're doing your show. So, and we understand that nothing that we do is without the support of our loved ones and family. So thank you, Renee, for being the wonderful woman that you are and sharing a little bit of Jay with us. And sorry when we beat him up too much. But we send him back to your hole. At least we try to. We was giving him a whooping on Saturday, so we sent him back a little bruised, but they were love taps. They were love taps. All right. Anything else? Let's see. My mom says faith without works is dead. Absolutely. And Conchita says, I love the fam. Thank you, Conchita. We love you too. Anything else we need to share, guys? Did I forget anything? I don't think so. I think we're about ready. We will be back here tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. for Wake Up Wednesday. Wake Up Wednesday, where we talk about the importance of being intentional. So be intentional, plan to show up. We look forward to seeing you. If you haven't done your SOAR assessment, you still have time. Just go to iwanttosoar.com, fill out the questions and see the assessment results that you get back. And then let's talk about them. Let's see what those results mean to you and to the life that you intend to live, and how we can use those gifts to get you moving forward. So go to iwanttosoar.com and then let's have a conversation. If nothing else, we are going to close it for today, and we will see you back here tomorrow, 7:15 a.m. Central. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. Make sure you join us every week, Tuesday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Central Time for the Cassandra Terry Morning Show. For advertising or sponsorship questions, reach out to Cassandra or any member of the FAM Collective.
Conchita says, sending good vibes to Mrs. J on her blessed birthday. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, guys. Have a great day, everyone. Happy birthday, Renee.